right, guys, welcome in here. It's another edition of the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by our friends at uwager.lv. It is where America bets. It's sure as shit where this show bets, and I hope at the very least you guys have been paying attention, going to get your bonuses and going ahead, open up that brand new account so you can do a little bit of line shopping here this weekend. It's pretty simple. 1-800-UWAGER. The code is JRS50. You put in 100, they put in 100. You put in $10, they match $10. You guys need options as we get ready for week 2 of the NFL to kick off tonight. Also, week 3 of college football is just around the corner. And how many times do I got to tell you guys, if you are not betting teams, nobody gives a shit what the name of the jersey is. Nobody cares what the name on the jersey is. The only thing that matters is the damn number. So the whole point of it is you got to have places to be able to shop and get that number. And if we cut to the chase, it means you need an offshore book that you can rely upon, at least one of them anyway. And certainly our friends over at UWager do an amazing job there. 1-800-UWAGER. The code is JRS50. Get that 100% deposit bonus match in your account and do it today. All right, excited. Plenty to get to here tonight. Of course, we've got ourselves Thursday night football. Week 2, NFL, we've got Jameis, I Can't Stop INT, and, of course, the always eventful Cam Newton, who just can't seem to throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field. But either way, 2 0-1 teams getting ready to do battle in Charlotte. The line is moved. It continues to move, which is why I say you guys need numbers. You got to get the right number. Opened up at 6.5. It's moved to 7.5 in some books. It's hanging around at 7. The total also opened up at 51. That has moved. We'll get you caught up on the latest there, because I do have a play here tonight that I think is money, is one that we will all cash. Plus, our good friend Ralph Michaels going to join us here in just a minute. WagerTalk.com, and I don't know how many times I got to tell you about this, guys. WagerTalk.com. Ralph Michaels, he's got a 5%er in college football. Ralph's coming on. We're going to break down some of these college football games that you guys got going on this weekend. It begins tomorrow night. North Carolina taking on Wake Forest. You got Kansas and Les Miles taking on BC. Week 3 kicks off tomorrow, but Saturday there are some monster games in college football. Great opportunity for you guys to cash in, and I couldn't think of anybody better than our good old friend Ralph Michaels at WagerTalk.com, getting ready to deliver for you guys like he always does when it comes to college football. We'll break down some of those games, and of course, we're excited here, right? You still got some Major League Baseball afternoon games today in the bag. Yankees once again score 100 runs. They win. The Mets are on a roll, guys. Don't get in front of that freight train known as the New York Mets. Scored 11 runs again today, 11-1. Arizona wants to know if anybody got the license plate of the truck that ran them over here this week. They've now gone ahead and lost 5 in a row. Not good for Arizona, but the Mets trying to keep battle here. Chicago right now playing in an afternoon game. Yu Darvish on the mound for them, taking on San Diego out in San Diego. They've got a 3-0 lead so far in that game. Cards also still up 6-3 over the Colorado Rockies. And Kansas City got their asses handed to them. That's basically, Kansas City rather beat Giolito today for the Chicago White Sox. So those of you that were laying the $2 to back Giolito, yeah, I know, I'm with you. Sorry about that. But there are a few games here tonight that still give us great value. Verlander on the mound for the Houston Astros tonight, taking on those always pesky Oakland A's. Got a couple of games I really, really like tonight. September, very unique month in Major League Baseball. Why? It provides us opportunity with value. That is correct. Some of these teams way overpriced, some teams undervalued. Opportunity for you guys to be able to make cash happening here tonight. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball coming up. Also want to thank our good friends over at paperhead.com. Any which way you cut it, guys. There has never been a better time for you to open up your own business, right? Become your own boss. Forget about beating the books. Be the book. How do you do that? Well, you need to have a partner, and you got to have somebody that, can turnkey an operation for you, 1, 2, 3. That's exactly what our friends at Paperhead do. All you got to do is pick up the phone and call them at 1-888-762-2121. And, guys, what are they going to do for you? They are going to get you set up, ready to rock and roll, your own business, part-time, full-time, whatever you want to do. You've got it. Just all you got to do is call, and you'll have it set up within the hour. It's 1-888-762-2121. That's 888-762-2121. Get it going today, guys. Forget about beating the books, guys. Be the book. It is so easier. Never been a better time in the world right now with how sports betting is growing in this country. Great opportunity for you guys to be able to get in, and create one of the best side hustles in the game right now for the next 8 months. Ain't nothing better than basketball, football, college hoops, college football, baseball again, hockey. Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about right now. 888-762-2121. Get your paperhead. Get it going. Be in business for yourself. All right, Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com, joining us. Major League Baseball plays coming up, plus my play of the night, college football. I mean, not college football. Well, I think it's going to look like college football anyway. Thursday night football. I'll tell you how I'm betting it and what I've already played. We'll do that coming up next. All right, guys, a big weekend here. Week 3, college football. Week 2, NFL. And it is a loaded schedule. And nobody better to help us cover it than our good friend Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Not to mention him and Teddy Covers. They got their own Wager Talk show on SportsGrid.com, 3 to 4 Eastern Time every Monday through Friday. And Ralph, here we are, 2 weeks into the college football season, third week beginning actually Friday, right? North Carolina Wake, and all of a sudden Les Miles is back in Kansas. What's your big takeaway with college football thus far? Any big surprises? Any shakeups? What do you think?
Well, the most surprising thing to me is that how poorly the second-year head coaches have done. The group of 5 head coaches, my good friend Brad Powers at Brad Powers 7 had this in his newsletter. Second-year Power 5 head coaches, 0-10 against the spread so far this year. So normally we talk about improvements from those coaches from one year to the next. Certainly hasn't happened. Willie Taggart's been a disappointment. Pruitt has been a disappointment at Tennessee. Scott Frost at Nebraska. Chip Kelly at UCLA. Chad Morris at Arkansas. It's been amazing how bad those teams have been. And then a normal reaction we see often are teams that don't belong as top 25 teams that make an appearance. We saw Stanford go down against USC. We saw Syracuse get blasted, and that's something else to keep looking for. Weeks 2, 3, and 4, those undefeated teams all of a sudden start popping up because of a weak schedule. Well, they're not AP teams. When you do make those rankings, number 1, you start thinking you're a better team than you are. Number 2, it gives the opponent an extra bullseye.
How much weight do you put into, because it is, the first couple of weeks of the college football season, the new better here, Ralph, that's just getting into it says, well, look, Texas is ranked, Texas A&M is ranked, and look at that, they're playing teams that aren't ranked, so they must absolutely be better than them, even though they're laying a ridiculous amount of points. And early on in the college football season, it's a dangerous proposition if you're new to this game. You don't necessarily just want to look at a team because they have a number next to it, Ralph, thinking that means something, because more often than not, it doesn't mean anything at this particular point in the season.
Joe, I post my college football power ratings for free at WagerTalk.com on my homepage. And I have a week-by-week adjustment so people can see exactly where I had him in the preseason and exactly where I move him each year. Syracuse, again, a team we just talked about that lost to Maryland. I have Syracuse as about my number 55 team in my power ratings. So, again, they were ranked because of what they did last year against a very weak schedule. And even though Syracuse is still going to win 9 or 10 games this year, they play the weakest schedule against any Power 5 opponent. They play the weakest schedule. So you're going to have good and bad teams, but again, this is a PR type situation now where media is just voting in those teams that after week 4 or 5, if you're still undefeated, you're going to make your way up those charts.
Yep.
And that's where you play against those teams.
And it's important. It's good that you said at WagerTalk.com, guys. Ralph's got his power rankings up there. And Ralph, I think one of the tools that the novice bettor should be aware of is the ability to get some, not just any power rankings, but get some quality power rankings that are updated on a weekly basis.
And listen, if you're new to handicapping, and we know so many people are, don't just rely on one source. Use mine. Go ahead and use Sagarin. Use, the Gold Sheet. There's a lot of options where you have with power rankings. And then take a look at, what the differences are. At least it gives you an idea, is this line really off? Or do I just have a misconception of a team? Depending on, because, hey, if all 3 of these power ratings say the line should be 7, well, the line should be 7. But you have to remember, Vegas's job isn't to put a line out where they think it should be. It's to get equal money on both sides. So there's times where a line should be 7. Vegas knows they're going to get money on Alabama or Clemson. They may move it a point or two because the public offsets what the sharps want to bet.
Yes, it happens all the time. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com is where you can get him at CalSportsLV on Twitter. Make sure you're tailing him. And, Ralph, we'll dive into a couple of these games this weekend in college. And I'll start with a team, just get your thoughts quickly. The first game, Wake Forest versus Mac Brown, North Carolina. And I've actually profited a couple of weeks now on Mac being an underdog at home against South Carolina. He's got a rookie quarterback, a freshman quarterback there that's been pretty damn impressive. They took down the University of Miami. Not a lot of people happy with me here that I went against them. But here they go again on the road, Wake Forest. He's a dog again. He's another underdog after delivering the first 2 times. Is it just an anomaly? Is it going to catch up with Mac Brown in North Carolina, or are they maybe not as bad a team as some people think?
I'm impressed. I moved them up. They're up 6 points in my power ratings off those 2 weeks. So they're one of my biggest movers. The Miami of Florida game, they did get outgained by 100 yards. And yeah, you have to take that with a grain of salt. The interesting note on this game is it's not a conference game. Yeah. Both of these teams had a hole to fill. They only play each other every 7 or 8 years in conference play. So they did a home and home the next 2 years and figure, well, we're in state. We might as well play each other. It's a short trip. You have to remember, again, these are all in the triangle where it's only a car drive. It's only an hour ride to get from one stadium to the next. So North Carolina will clearly be supported. I like this North Carolina team. I'm impressed with what Mac Brown has done. I'm impressed with Sam Howell, 65% completions after 2 games. No interceptions. Again, that's the important thing. 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. And you got a couple running backs with Williams and Carter who are doing very well. I agree with you. I lean the Tar Heels plus the points.
Love that. And week 3, some big matchups here, and probably none bigger than in my state here in Florida, Ralph, right in Orlando. I am so sick and tired of hearing UCF fans tell me how, oh God, we don't get the credit. Nobody gives us any credit. All we do is win. Well, all right, you got a Pac-12 team coming into your house right now in Stanford. And, okay, everyone's going to be watching. Now's the time to put up or shut up. They are a favorite here in this game, Ralph. But what do you like their chance? Is it the biggest game maybe UCF has had in a long time?
Yeah, I think so. And I believe UCF is for real. Now, I'm going to say they are getting credit. They're ranked number 17. They're a 7.5 point favorite against a team that was very competitive. It was a 9 or 10 win team in the Pac-12. So to me, they finally are getting their due credit. Now, I am on UCF this week, and I'll just say that, if you buy my all access package, this is one of my plays. I've already posted it at WagerTalk, and I am on UCF minus the points. I look at Stanford, a team that won 9 games last year or 10 games. But people don't talk. They were outgained on the season. They had a very fortunate record. Yes, KJ Costello's back, but you're missing Walker Little, your left tackle. He is going to be a top 10 NFL draft pick next year. With him out of the lineup, they had to change 3 offensive linemen in that USC game. And yes, David Mills struggled, and Costello's going to do better. But this Stanford team, to me, again, is a middle-of-the-road team, got outgained on the season, having to change their O-line. And UCF, to me, a dynamic team, is going to be able to move the offense. And then you look at the scheduling situation. Stanford, back-to-back road games. You have your conference opener against USC primetime TV. Then you go to the heat and humidity against UCF. And if anyone's going to run up the score, they're going to do it at UCF if they have the ability to. I believe they have the ability to, and I believe they will.
One of the, and I agree with you, Ralph, it's going to be huge here in Florida. Good for UCF. Maybe finally they'll get some recognition after beating a big Power 5 school here. One of the other things I don't get, we talk about perception versus reality, right? Sometimes the perception of a team is really not the reality, and Nebraska fits that to me this year. I can't tell you the amount of people that told me, Scott Frost, Nebraska, they're going to be this, they're going to be that, most improved team. Well, you know, I faded them against Colorado. That seemed to be a very profitable move there. Won a great game. But here they are taking a MAC team, Northern Illinois. Not that I'm in love with Northern Illinois, but Northern Illinois can play some defense. They can also rush the ball. I don't understand what the fascination with Nebraska is this year. Am I missing something? Should I be looking all Nebraska against a MAC team?
Well, I'm going to wait and see. I got burned on Nebraska. I actually was against you, Joe. I was on Nebraska last week and took that as a painful loss.
Oh.
You know, I think that the perception in college football, the NFL has 32 teams. Everyone can do a little bit of studying in the NFL and know that, yes, New England's probably the best team and Miami is the worst team. But in college football with 130 teams, so many people rely on experts or magazines, you know, and as your viewers know or don't know, I mean, I was part of Phil Steele Publications and North Coast Sports for 18 years, the general manager almost the last decade. But I still, there's a lot of work I did with Phil that I still do the same type of preseason work. But, you know, let's use the Phil Steele College Football Preview. It has a lot of pull. He picked Nebraska to win the division in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. That puts them up a couple notches. You like Phil or not, when those preseason magazines come out on Nebraska, well, I'll tell you what. The media's reading those. That's how a lot of the media gets their information. So all of a sudden they get voted into the AP top. And people think, well, this Nebraska team really is good. Phil picks them. So, you know, it could be Athlons. It could be, you know, any of the publications. Bill Connolly did a great job. Now he's on ESPN. So his thoughts will even get more magnified being in the ESPN margin. Yep. So those type of situations going into a preseason certainly can inflate a team's expectations. You know, again, you looked at what they did week 1 against South Alabama, and, you know, I could appreciate what Scott Frost said. I've never seen a team play as bad as they did.
Right. You
get outgained at home against South Alabama with one of the Heisman favorites in Adrian Martinez. And then last week, again, you're leading 17-0. Suddenly you change your offense. You start to play like you want to run the clock out. And what does Colorado do? Throw a 96-yard flea flicker, game over, momentum change. So right. I am with you. I am not going to buy into Nebraska yet. I think their offense will be dynamic by the end of the year. But until they prove that they can get some margin, well, let's see. You got outgained by 38 yards against South Alabama. You were a huge favorite. You were a favorite at Colorado. You only had a 5-yard edge, and you got out first down by 3 yards. Until they prove something, I'm not going to back them. But I'm not going to play against them either in this spot.
Like that. All right. So 14 points, Northern Illinois. By the way, if you're going to fade Nebraska, there's the place to do it. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. You know, you are not over the time, Ralph, and we've talked a lot of games over the years here, but never really heard you back Alabama, man, or at least a half here, or maybe a quarter here. But Alabama going up against South Carolina, Will Muschamp. What do you like Alabama? Are you leaning Alabama this week? What's the deal with this game?
Well, there are a handful. You know, we talk about true freshman quarterbacks there were 4 that opened up week 1. Well, there's probably just as few 4-year starting quarterbacks. And that's exactly what Jake Bentley was at South Carolina in the opener. He was a 4-year starting quarterback in the SEC. It doesn't get more experience than that. And you expect significant leaps and bounds for a quarterback in that 4th year. A lot of times a quarterback may get beat out, but if you've won that job each year, that coach knows you can do something and he's excited about it. Well, Jake Bentley's out, and he got hurt in the opener and he's out. So now you have true frost Ryan Helinski in. Yes, he threw the ball 30 times against Charleston Southern. Yes, he completed 24 passes, but I think that's just going to open him up to some false enthusiasm. This Bama defense against a true freshman quarterback will eat him up. And then, Bama has gone 12-3 against the spread their last 15 SEC road games. Right. And while they're laying a huge number here, they have gone 3-2 as a 20-point favorite. But the thing to remember, why I look at Clemson and Oklahoma and Ohio State and those elite teams when they're on the road, you have to remember, at home, there's no roster limits. You have 110, 120 guys. Anyone that was part of your team can wear a uniform and be on the sidelines. So if Alabama, like last week against New Mexico State, is laying 55, they probably have 3rd and 4th string players in there just to get some experience, because you're allowed to play 4 games at any point in the season before your redshirt. So it's a great teaching tool to get those kids some experience. On the road, depending on what conference you're in, you can only take 72, 75, or 78 players. So you have Alabama's 1st and 2nd string, plus their special teams, plus maybe a few 3rd string guys that can play multiple positions in case you need them. Right. Those are the teams where, listen, even if Alabama gets out to a 24, 28-point lead, so what? Their 2nd string is now in. So it's always a situation where those premium teams on the road, you're getting much more value because of the roster size.
Like that. All right, Alabama, it is. Interesting point, too, about that, guys, keeping in mind home versus away. It's a numbers game. That's truly what it is. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. You mentioned the Buckeyes, Ohio State, back-to-back home games to start the season. Now they're finally on the road in the Big Ten. They're heading over to, I believe, Memorial Stadium in Bloomington, taking on Indiana. And I got to tell you, I'm shocked the line isn't a little bit bigger than this, 15.5, 16, depending on the book, Ralph. I don't know. Yeah, FAU kind of made me take a step back with Ohio State, saying maybe they're not as good as everyone thinks they are. But listen, Fields is the real deal. What do you think in this situation, first road game for Ohio State?
I'm not concerned at all about that 28-0 game. Listen, it was FAU was playing that 3-3-0 defense, and they scored 28 points so fast they didn't know what to do, and it was just handed to them so easy. Last week against Cincinnati, again, the defense showed what they really can do. So the interesting thing about Indiana is the Ohio State Buckeyes have won 23 or 24 straight in the series. They've dominated this foe. But if you look back at the ATS numbers, Indiana is actually 7-1 against the spread. Wow. The difference is, however, those spreads used to be 28 and 30 points. Now, as you said, you're laying under 17 in this game. When you tune into this game, you are probably going to see 40 to 50% Buckeyes fans. Why? You can't get a ticket to watch Ohio State in Columbus, but Buckeye Nation will travel to Indiana. They always travel to Indiana. It's cheaper for people to buy that ticket at face value and go there and watch this team play. They will have a huge crowd. Now, even though the Hoosiers returned Peyton Ramsey, their starting quarterback from last year, they made the switch with the new offensive coordinator, DeBoer, who came over from Fresno State, and they're with the lefty redshirt freshman Michael Penix. I just read this morning now that Penix is questionable and Ramsey is likely to get the start. So now you have a quarterback who last year started, got beat out this year, sat on his hands the first couple games, and now he's back in. I think Ohio State's D is number 1, too good, number 2, too fast. You have Chase Young and defensive ends that can chase down quarterbacks. That's the difference. This Buckeyes defense has a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, they only lost one game last year, but they had their worst point per game defense in the history of the school, and they allowed over 400 yards. That chip on the shoulder in the new DC this year gets the job done. I think Indiana's offense struggles. I think Ohio State's offense takes the next level. I do like the Buckeyes here.
Yeah, big difference between laying 15, guys, and laying 25 on a consistent basis. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Ralph, one of the games that I love, I think it's one of the most underrated rivalries in actually all of football because it has to do with corn and Iowa and the Cy-Hawk Trophy and everything else. But it's always been a great rivalry. Iowa, nothing really exciting or sexy about Iowa. It's kind of like watching paint dry. But I've watched both of these teams this year, Iowa State and Iowa. There's something wrong with Iowa State. I don't know if it's David Montgomery or if they haven't been able to adjust, but the eye test tells me Iowa's the better team here. It's not a big number, 2.5, 3 points, Iowa. What do you like in this game?
Well, my power ratings have Iowa just a bit better, but they would have Iowa State favored at home. This game opened up close to pick. Iowa now a 2.5 point favorite. A lot of money on the Cyclones. And I understand why that money's there. You know, you look at what they did against Miami of Ohio. You won by 24. You held them to 11 first downs. Rutgers last week, one of the most impressive performances. The score was 30-0, but they held Rutgers to 5 first downs. Completely agree with that eye test. Here's an angle for you if you're an Iowa fan. You think about Iowa, we talked about going on the road and how teams are better because they're playing their top guys. Iowa, their last 18 games as an away favorite, 16 1-1 against the spread.
Wow.
It doesn't get much better than that.
Wow.
But now I'm going to turn it around and give you my Iowa State point. Iowa State has gone 9-2-2 as a home dog, so very, very respectable. Mm-hmm. And Matt Campbell is one of my favorite head coaches. I actually rate him in my top 5. I think he'll be gone out of Iowa State soon, taking one of the top 10 premier jobs, maybe a Florida State job or one of these jobs that those coaches we talked about that isn't playing well. Going back, and I read an article a few days ago, Matt Campbell, going back to his Mount Union days as a player and a coach, said he personally would choose week 2 out of any week to take a bye.
Wow.
And you talked about passing the eye test. Well, Iowa State's only played one game. That was against Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa, a very good FCS team, and people know that game went to overtime. Well, Iowa had a 463 to 262-yard edge. They had a 201-yard edge. They significantly outpaid them and just shot themselves. You have Brock Purdy returning, and we talk about improvement from game 1 to 2. Well, improvement from game 1 to 2 with a bye in there is something Matt Campbell thinks is priceless. So it's a situation where I actually back the home dog in this.
Wow.
I believe Matt Campbell that he's going to get his team to turn around. Yeah, you're missing Montgomery, and he's playing for an NFL. He's playing in the NFL now, so it's a huge loss. But Purdy's an exciting quarterback. This Iowa State team has lost 4 straight in the series, so they certainly have motivation and revenge as a factor. I lean with the Cyclones.
Iowa State, Ralph's going Iowa State. Listen, it's like you said, only one game, and it is home, and it's kind of tough to lay it. And this is truly one of, if you guys never had a chance to see this rivalry, it's one of the most underrated ones in college football. They really get at it, those kids in Iowa. It's great. And one final game here, Ralph, a game that surprised a lot of people last year. Maybe we shouldn't have been, but Arizona State now traveling to Michigan State. Last year they were in Tempe, and Herm Edwards and company pulled the upset. I think mostly because Michigan State players couldn't breathe in that heat there in Tempe. It gets to them sometimes, but totally different ball game here. We're looking at, a Michigan State team, 2 touchdown favorites on the road. He does a great job, Mark D'Antonio, of sucking one year, coming back, having an amazing year. It's like the on-off situation. He's set to have a really good year this year. At least that's what I'm being told here. Do you buy it? Do you think he can exact some revenge here against Arizona State?
I do. Obviously you were a 5-point away favorite last year. You had the 13-6 lead into the fourth quarter. You lose that game 16-13. And now you turn it around. So if Michigan State was laying 5 at Arizona State, they would be about an 11-point favorite. So is Michigan State 3 points better than last year? Absolutely. I believe so. You watch the Tulsa game and they didn't cover as a huge favorite because they only put up 303 yards. And you say, well, that's why you can't lay double digits with Mark D'Antonio, because he's got such a stagnant offense. Well, they talked about improving the offense. They made some changes in the coaching. Brian Lewerke is another year removed. It didn't show it against Tulsa, but Tulsa plays a very unique 3-3-5 defense that only a handful of teams do. You don't practice against it, and Lewerke struggled. He was 22 of 38 for only 195 yards. We saw the offense come back last week, and they finally did open up the offense, start to throw deep, complete some balls downfield. Darryl Stewart has 241 yards of 15.1 yards per completion so far this year. And I think that's enough. The Michigan State's defense is elite already. We know that. On the flip side, Arizona State's one of those teams playing a true freshman, Jaden Daniels. This kid looks like he's 110 pounds, looks like he's going to snap once he gets hit by this Michigan State D-line. But this Arizona State team last week against Sacramento State, there was nothing fluky about that 19-7 score. Mm-hmm. They had 80 yards in the half. They had 3 points in the half. I happened to watch that game. It was the only game on late here, and it was great to be able to see them play against that opponent. Now you have a true freshman making his first road start. Oh, yeah, and by the way, we talked about that Tulsa 3-3-5 defense. That's unique. That's the exact same defense that Herm Edwards runs. So now they played it last year. They played it week 1. They have time to prep against it. That offense is better. Michigan State will crush and roll in this game.
I love it. Revenge is very, very sweet for Michigan State. Looks like it's going to happen again this weekend. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. And Ralph, before I let you go, I wanted to talk about a NFL game quick this Sunday, because anytime we see something we don't usually see very often, people tend to overreact, and we know that in week 2. But my neck of the woods here in Miami, there's a game going to take place. A lot of people don't feel should even take place. I have heard I'm looking for Miami Dolphin. Even Miami fans don't want to bet on Miami this weekend. But, I'm trying to explain caution here, guys. It ain't 18-year-olds. These are grown-ass men being paid a lot of money to be professionals. It's 19, Ralph. 19. Hell, it might even go up to 20. We don't often see 20-point underdogs in the NFL this early in the season. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, right now, my database goes back to 1989. And guys, if you're NFL fans and you like stats and trends and systems, make sure you follow me at Twitter at Cal Sports. You will see I probably tweeted 20 angles so far this week. And Joe, I appreciate the retweets when you send them. I always tag you on them and bug you. But you're gonna find some great situations. And one of those things I tweeted was that the largest home favorite role since 1989 was a 20-point away favorite. Wow. And that was a team that didn't cover. Patriots now second in that role. Another interesting angle to throw in on that game, in the NFL since 2010, when you have a double-digit home dog, the over-under is 4-24. Wow. So 24 of 28 games have gone under the total. Wow. Why does that happen? Well, what does a team that knows they're a worse team want to do? They want to run the clock. They want to try to slow the clock. Does a team like Bill Belichick that knows he has to play Miami twice a year, does he get any satisfaction out of running up the score? No, not really. You run out the clock. Let's worry about next week. You add in the heat and the humidity in there, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. And no, I would not back the Patriots at all. But I'll tell you what, normally I'd be all over this Miami team, but it looks certainly like with the trades of Stills and Tunsil, this is the tank for Tua season. Mm-hmm. And Bill Belichick's defense, he's calling his plays for the first time in 4 years again as the defensive coordinator. We saw what he did in the preseason blitzing against Detroit early. We saw what he did to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if Miami would score. I think right now, one of my top bets would be, Miami under 10 points on the team side total. That I don't know if they'll get there. And I do like the under, but there are certainly several systems I've tweeted out. Teams that cover by 18 points in week 1, like New England, like Tennessee, have a very poor record week 2. Home dogs that lost their game week 1 have a very good record week 2 because of overreactions. And again, a lot of systems like that, if you just go back and look through the thread at Cal Sports LV.
At Cal Sports LV on Twitter. And I don't know, if it happens, it doesn't happen often, but of course Sam Darnold's been ruled out, not just for Monday night, but for a couple of weeks. What happens, Ralph, to the bettor who might have taken the Jets, or you know what, even has a ticket on Cleveland? It was -2.5, but they took it off the board, and now it's being bet all the way up to close to 7 here, Ralph. Is a quarterback worth that big a difference?
Oh God, no, not Sam Darnold. I mean, I think he's 1 or 2 points difference, and that's it. I am now going to be on the Jets. I mean, you're looking at a game where the Browns, yes, the Browns are the better team, but this is still a team that, was 0-16 2 years ago, has to learn to win on the road. And having to learn to win on the road is one thing. Having to learn to win and cover on the road is an entirely different thing. You have team, and they're 22 or 25% against the spread the next week. Teams all of a sudden just don't say, oh, we're going to play clean after turning the ball over 18 times. You still have to change that mentality. The Browns still have a head coach who had never been a head coach, an OC who has never been an OC. And again, I'm a Browns fan. I have never bet that season win total over. I thought it was too high. I didn't bet him to win the division. I bet on Pittsburgh. So me being a Browns fan thinks this line is crazy high. I thought it was going to be a no play for me. Now I seriously have to look about adding the Jets into the mix.
Love that. It's why we love talking to him. Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Guys, SportsGrid.com. Weekday afternoons, him and Teddy covers 3 to 4 o'clock. He hangs out with us here on Thursday afternoons. Ralph, appreciate your time as always, my man. Good luck. WagerTalk.com, and they just go to your page, right? They can get any of the packages, 30 days, the season. Everything's right there available for them.
Yeah, and again, if they go to the page, everything that I post for free. There's an NFL schedule with the look-ahead lines. Every week I paste a one-page schedule. I'm old school. I like to have a schedule printed. It's all on one page. You have a college football with the opening lines from Cirque on Monday. You have the NFL line with the look-ahead lines from the SuperBook. You have my power ratings. You have the Gridiron Guide baseball newsletter. The First Pitch baseball newsletter. The Gridiron Guide football newsletter starts this week. And any of those downloads, you don't need a credit card. You do have to register your email the first time, right, and then that's it. You go there and you download them every week for free. WagerTalk.com, at Cal Sports LV on Twitter. Ralph Michaels, crush it this weekend. Ralph, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again next week. Joe, next to you, I look like a white ghost. I better get out in the sun. How do you do it during football season, man? What is wrong? It's 100 degrees here in the shade. What did you know this? What's wrong? Get out, Ralph. Got to get out more. Ralph Michaels. Love it. Talk to you soon, bud. Thanks, bud. The great Ralph Michaels joining us again. WagerTalk.com, guys. That's where you got to go. WagerTalk.com, right in front of you there. Ralph's page, his power rankings, everything you need, not to mention at Cal Sports LV. That is where you can go ahead and tail him on Twitter. It is always great when we get a chance to hang out with our good friend Ralph Michaels at WagerTalk.com. All right, want to send a big shout out to a few of the boys hanging out in the chat rooms across all the platforms here today. Our Facebook Live crew and Vori getting ready. No matter what, man, he is a Florida State diehard. He loves his FSU Seminoles. He loves his Raiders, and he don't care. It's Seminoles over everybody. So it's always good to have football season back. Get to hang out with Vori and the rest of the crew over at Facebook Live at Joe Raineri Show, and of course we got Maxwell on our YouTube page there, and I can't wait to get Max ready to rock and roll come
come college basketball season. You guys are going to make a ton of cash in college basketball season, man. Maxwell Smart will get him all squared away. Also, the Keg, Jay, the Sports Keg CEO, hanging around here, being a nuisance. So it's good to have all of you guys here in the afternoons. Pleasure, doing my best to bring you, of course, some of the very best handicappers from around the country, guys. Knowledge is power. We say it here all the time. We've been saying it for well over a year, right? This time last year, the more knowledge we got, the better off it is, the more profitable we'll be as sports investors. That is what it is all about. All right, just a quick reminder, guys, if you haven't done so and you're looking for a book that you can do a little line shopping in, because it really doesn't make a difference. Look at the numbers here tonight, guys. Have you seen what's going on here? Carolina opening up at 6.5. It's been pushed to 7.5. Now it's at 7. Talking to some of you guys thinking about buying the hook, staying away from the hook. Really shop it, guys. The discrepancy of the numbers across the books is all over the place, especially in some of these offshores. So get yourself an offshore that you can rely upon, and I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't send you there if I wasn't making my plays there. 1-800-UWager. The code is JRS50. That's 1-800-UWager. The code is JRS50. They'll give you a 100% bonus match deposit. Put in 100, they put in 100. Put in a dime, they'll put a dime. So on and so forth, guys. It's real simple. 1-800-UWager. The code is JRS50. All right, let's talk a little baseball here tonight if you guys are looking for a couple of plays. And let me just get a update on what we are doing here just to make sure I'm not missing anything. Have the Yankees scored 400 runs yet? All right, Yankees are still up 3-0 Game 2 against the Tigers there. CC Sabathia against Turnbull. The Pirates are up 4-2 over the Giants. Cubs finally going to win a game after throwing up all over themselves the last week here. They've only won 4 out of their last 10 games. Not good, but they're getting the job done here against the Padres today. Yu Darvish on the mound, 4-0 Cubs. The Cards look like they're going to go ahead and finally score more than 1 run. 6-3 at Coors Field right now, top of the 8th. Over the Rockies. Tonight, we're getting ready. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Julio Chacin taking the mound for the Red Sox, going up against Clay Buchholz. Has that old school Red Sox right there. Braves, Philly, Dodgers, Orioles, Nationals, Twins finishing up their series. The Rays, Rangers, the A's, Astros as Verlander taking on Homer Bailey. And then finally tonight, maybe the Reds, I don't know, maybe they'll win a game. Anytime you want to win a game in Seattle, anytime. All right, good stuff. Had a no-hitter last night by Sonny Gray and choked it away through the 7th inning there. Just embarrassing. And Bauer only gave up a run the night before, but they couldn't. The bullpen melted. It's been a rough series for the Cincinnati Reds, but they try and get one under their belt against the Mariners tonight. That's the late game, the last game. That's the game we can all chase once the rest of our plays don't hit here tonight. But I'm focusing, guys, in on the Rays tonight. It's a little pricey, a little chalky, -145, -150. They're taking on the Rangers here. It's been a game since Tuesday, right? Tuesday they came back, they won. Wednesday, last night, they came back, they tied it, but they ended up losing by a run, 10-9 there. And tonight, Brandon McKay going up against Allard, the rookie from Texas. Here's the bottom line, guys. We only got 2 weeks of baseball left. The Rays currently are in control of the wild card, the number 1 wild card spot. You've got Cleveland, you've got the A's battling there, trying to figure out who it is that's going to secure that final spot and play the play-in game there with the right to get their asses handed to them by the Astros or the A's. And the truth is, guys, listen, the Rays, they're a heads and tails a better team than the Texas Rangers. And this rookie, Allard, by the way, 4-0. He hasn't lost yet. He came up about a month ago. But the problem is he hasn't actually played anybody. He hasn't pitched against any playoff caliber team. That's going to change tonight when he takes on the Tampa Bay Rays. Every game is a must-win right now. Motivation's a huge part of handicapping baseball in the month of September. You get plenty of value on the board because teams are undervalued, others are overvalued. And I can tell you right now, at -150 of this Rays, it should be closer to $2 because the Rays are not going to lose tonight. They are going to keep pace, stay in that spot. They know, as well as everybody else, that you're in the number 1 wild card spot. You don't want to be battling for the play-in game you want to go ahead and take care of business. I think the Rays will do that tonight. Minus 150. Use the Rays. Get it done. I also think the Reds are going to win a game here. They're not going to get swept by Seattle. If they do, they should sell the franchise and end it. But I do like the Rays. McKay on the mound. McKay took a couple of weeks off. They shut him down for a little while to get his arm back up to go. He's fully rested, ready to rock and roll. Another kid that's going to be with the Tampa Bay Rays for a long, long time. Love him tonight in this spot. So jump all over the Rays if you like. And then finally, of course, tonight's NFL game. Carolina taking on Jameis INT Winston in Charlotte there. Road game for Tampa Bay. Short week. And I'm going to do exactly what I did last week, guys. Told you about this. I'm a big believer early on in the season of the first half unders. We nailed it, of course, on Monday Night Football, both games with not only the New Orleans Saints, of course, but Houston. We told you it was going to be a little rusty in the beginning, and then the second half, the scoring was going to happen. And it's the same thing here tonight. I do think both of these defenses are very underrated on a short week. I do think that Bruce Arians and company is not – they're going to play it a little close to the vest, I'm pretty sure there. Ronald Jones was fantastic running the ball for Tampa. I do expect them to try and establish the run, certainly in the first half. They don't want Jameis – listen, I don't want him throwing pick sixes all over the place here tonight. It's a damn good defense. That's anchored by, Gerald McCoy, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, who they didn't want to sign. The Panthers signed him, got no problem. This will be his first game against his former team tonight. He's already asked Ron Rivera, put me in for more snaps. I'm ready to go. He's got a chip on his shoulder. If I was Jameis and I'm staring at Gerald McCoy coming across the line at me, yeah, that's going to be tough. Now, on conversely, on the flip side, guys, do not underestimate the Tampa Bay Bucks. I know a lot of you are like, they give up 31 against Jimmy Garoppolo, who hasn't played in a year. Well, again, that's what happens when you just read box scores and you don't read the fine print. Yeah, that game, the 17 of those 31 points were scored on turnovers and touchdowns. 3 was also because of the fact that they turned the ball over inside the 20-yard line and gave San Francisco an easy field goal. So you got Todd Bowles, former Jets head coach, prior, the former Bruce Arians defensive coordinator in Arizona, now the current defensive coordinator for Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. Devin White, the kid out of LSU that they drafted with the number 5 pick. Adamakin Suh. Yeah, they've got some players. That defense was pretty damn stout, and I expect the defense to get a lot more takeaways this year than they did last year, where they ranked in the bottom 3 in just about every defensive statistical category. Not going to happen here tonight, guys. I think the first half is going to be a really smash-mouth kind of football game there, getting ready to just defenses lining up, and I'm beating your guy off the ball, and that's it. So I wouldn't expect any of the big scoring to happen, and it opened up at 51. It's been bet down to 49.5 and 49. You guys can find it. Again, find the best number that you can. I'm going to concentrate in the first half. First half, 24.5. That's what I'm doing. I don't think we're going to get 3 touchdowns and a field goal between these two teams in the first half. Defense, field position, special teams. I think that's going to reign true here in Charlotte for Carolina and Tampa. And then I do expect them to open things up a little bit in the second half. And don't forget, Cam Newton, surgically repaired shoulder, though he looks better throwing the ball. He didn't complete a pass more than, 11 yards last week against the Rams. So, I don't know that Cam Newton's going to be going back there tossing the ball 45, 50 times here tonight. Expect McCaffrey, expect the run game to work on establishing it and eating up a lot of clock. Go with the under first half, 24.5. That's where I'll be going tonight. Also back in the Tampa Bay Rays. Interesting how I'm doing that. I'm fading the Tampa Bay team from the football perspective, but I'm backing the Tampa Bay team on the baseball. Didn't realize that until just now, and actually I'm laughing a little bit. Might have to reconsider that. It's just way too much Tampa. But I am in Florida after all, and go Rays and go Carolina, because I'm also I got Carolina early on in the week at 6.5. I do think they will ultimately pull away in this game in the second half. I've got them winning by 10 points. I think that's a good number there. I think they take care of business at home. And unfortunately, Tampa Bay is going to be 0-2, the Bucks, before it is all said and done. And then we've got football tomorrow night, college football week 3, and I hope you guys had an opportunity to check out Ralph and what he said and broken down. If not, don't worry about it. We will. The videos are available, housed on every platform for you, so you guys can check out the video if you messed with Ralph. Some great information from Ralph Michaels, of course, at WagerTalk.com. Great stuff about some of the games that he loves this weekend. Week 3 in college football always starts to round into shape. It's a very interesting week with a whole bunch of ranked teams playing a whole bunch of unranked teams. You've got Texas A&M, Washington, all playing teams like Lamar and the St. Mary's Sister of the Blind, laying all of these points. It's kind of a trap week, so be careful that. Also, Temple taking on Maryland, going to be playing at Eagle Stadium there, going to be playing in the Big House. 7 points is what Temple's getting, kind of a home game for them, taking on Maryland there. Bit of a trap, if you ask me. But we'll have full breakdown tomorrow for you here, of course. We'll have even more of our favorite plays heading into the weekend. Ultimately, we're looking to make it rain for you. Isn't that what it's all about? And also, we are here to help inform, and we've been telling you guys, there has never been a better time with the expansion of sports betting around this country. Why spend all the time and the efforts trying to beat the books? Why not become the book? It's a hell of a lot easier than any of you can possibly imagine. All you need to do is get the right company behind you, and within an hour you could have your own side hustle by running your own book for your friends, for your family. You don't have to go out and get strangers off the street, guys. Your book can consist of you, the guys you work with, the guys that, your crew that you grew up with. It is that simple. I am telling you, all you need is a computer and the ability to have internet access, and you will be set up in so many different ways. One of the best company, actually the best company available right now to be able to get you guys set up within an hour is our friends at Pay Per Head. And I'm telling you right now, just call 888-762-2121. We had a couple of guys from Orlando this week that reached out, and they're pumped up there. I mean, they were so ecstatic. You guys will hear from them. They're all jacked up, ready to go. They can't wait. They got, their buddies that they grew up with. They got some of the guys from the neighborhood, and, they're going to run the book for them, and that's it. They're going to be the sports book for all of their guys. They're sick and tired of everybody else. And listen, it's, it doesn't have to be a full-time gig, guys. It can just simply be that you're looking for a little side business. That's it. You're betting the games anyway, right? Forget about beating a book. Become the book. Guys, it's so damn easy. I'm telling you, turnkey like you've never seen. 888-762-2121. I'll have more information for you guys all throughout the week here. Get it set up. I want you to meet some people from the company, and I want you to hear from people that are actually doing this right now, and they can explain to you just how cool this really is. It is awesome, and that's coming your way. 888-762-2121. So good luck, guys, tonight in the games. Don't forget, you got options here tonight. You got Major League Baseball. You've got Thursday Night Football. No matter what you choose to back, best of luck to you. Cash those damn tickets, guys. That's what it's all about, being a little more profitable this year than you were last year, and hopefully we'll point you in the right direction. Knowledge is power to all of you guys putting your money down, making plays here tonight. Good luck. Come back and join us again tomorrow afternoon. Vori, a pleasure. And the rest of you lunatics in the Facebook Live chat room, thank you guys for making us a part of your day. Vori, we'll see you again tomorrow. Maxwell hanging out in our YouTube chat, man. Always a pleasure to see you, brother. Mikasa Sukasa, come on by, guys. And, of course, Jay, the Sports Cake CEO. We'll get him on this weekend, too, as he looks to make it a year number 2 of dominating on the football field, on the pigskin, man. Unbelievable year last year by Jay, the Sports Cake CEO. Going to be an even more profitable year this year. He'll be joining us. So thank you to Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Guys, thank you to our friends at Paperhead.com as well as uwager.lv. Best of luck here, guys, tonight. No matter what you plan on doing, no matter what you plan on playing, cash those damn tickets. Best of luck to you. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by, making us a part of your day. We'll talk to you again.